Hey everyone, my name is Gerard Vachon, touring guitar player for Lauren Babick, and I just wanted to do a quick run through of how I build the tones that I use for live. I got a few compliments for them on the last tone, and I really try to emulate the sound of two guitar players live, even though I'm the only person on stage. So I have a unique way of doubling that I took from Christian Kohle, from the Kohle Audio Kult fame and his channel. Definitely go check it out. He's who I got this idea from, and I just applied it towards my use case. But just kind of wanted to run through some of the tones and how I built them. They're not too crazy. We just wanted to go over that doubling thing in particular. Here, we're just going to use Cortex Control to look at everything. So you can see there's a little bit going on. It's not too crazy, though, I promise. Before we get started, I'll just let you guys hear the tone real quick. This is the tone for Let It Die, which if you know that song, it starts off. That's how that song goes, and this is the tone for it. This is kind of what the tone for the entire set is built around. So first things first, we've just got a gain plugin. This guitar comes in really hot, and I found when I pull it back like 4 dB, and I do this in plugins as well too. It seems to just land exactly where I want it to. So that's all that is. I'm just pulling my level back a little bit because these pickups are really hot. Then we've got a gate, pretty tight set for everything. Since this is a rhythm tone, I don't mind if it cuts me off a little bit. That's hence the high threshold, but just really fast attack and release times. I want it to cut off as soon as I'm done playing. And then we've got the compressor for Archetype Nolly. As you can obviously see, I pretty much use Nolly for the entirety of this tone. But you'll see just kind of why and how I use things the way they are. I'm just doing a little bit of compression just to get a little extra attack out of my picking. With it off, it doesn't make too much of a difference. Just kind of brings things a little bit more up front, makes it sound a little bit more aggressive. And I neglected to add that I just have a transpose patch. The song's in G. I keep the guitar tuned to drop A flat. So I'm actually even pulling back on the level here a little bit, only doing about like 5-6 dBs of reduction on the high end. That's when I really dig in. You'll see then that it splits off to both rows 3 and 4, and this is where things kind of get different, and I'll just briefly kind of go over how I separate things. So you'll see that there's 3 different blocks on this line, and all I do, that's what does everything. So now that those are off, we have a mono guitar. So what I'm doing essentially, we've got a utility gain, and all it's doing is inverting the phase. So the thought process behind this, if you're familiar with the Haas effect, which is just duplicating whatever the source is, panning it, and then flipping the phase on one of them, sometimes with a time offset as well too, is a great way to fake a stereo image. But I've always felt it leaves, like, it just feels really hollow in the center and not a pleasing way. And it doesn't sound like two guitars. It still sounds like one guitar being played. I really wanted to try to get the sound of a true second guitar player. So this is kind of how I did it. The first thing, we're inverting the phase. We're now hitting the gain structure different. Therefore, we're negating any real opportunities for there to be phase incoherency. At least that's my understanding of it, and at least in practice, what it sounds like to me. I'm sure there's some subtle gain phase stuff going on, but nothing that's it's not noticeably changing the tone, which is the most important thing. Next, we've got a delay. I'm just doing about 18 milliseconds. I know a lot of people do tighter than that, but it just still felt like one guitar. So when I turn it off, comes a little bit more center. Now we get a really, really huge stereo image. So that's all I'm doing. Mix is cranked, and everything's as short as it can be except for that delay time, or like as turned off as it can be, so there's no mod. Maybe I should do a little bit of mod to get a little bit of pitch variation. It's an idea. We'll try it out. Let's kind of cool. It's subtle, but I like it. I just want a little bit of pitch variation, so I think that mod is kind of giving me a little bit of that. And like I said, the mix is on 100%. It's only giving me the single repeat, and it's just offsetting it by that 18 milliseconds. And then at the very end of that, we've just got another phase flip. If I turn it off, it kind of just sounds like a guitar split up again. Now, definitely does it. And more than anything, I just want to try to avoid any sort of phase issues. So since now we're hitting the distortion differently, we're flipping the phase after it's hitting that distortion again. So we're hitting it into the distortion with a different phase and then flipping it back again afterwards. So now that the EQ for this cab is in phase, in theory, that's what it sounds like to me. I don't know if it's 100% accurate, but I really like the way this sounds. Next, we've just got the overdrive and nollie. Pretty standard, just trying to tighten up the guitar a little bit. We do have the bright switch on, so it's doing that high shelf. No level push. I'm really enjoying getting the distortion more from the amp, but this guitar is also pretty hot, so I don't really need it. And everything that you're seeing that's identical on these is exactly the same, so nothing too crazy. So we've got that. We've just got a roll off at 2K. All it's doing is kind of getting rid of a little of the extra hand noise. So if I got rid of that, it's picking up a lot more of my hand noises. And also just getting rid of kind of the ice picky kind of pick noise and some of the fret buzz noise as well going into the amp, so that's not getting over accentuated. It's really giving me a nice clear note, but without like really suffering on the attack side of things. Then it's just nollie. I don't have too much gain going on, only 3. But this is a pretty hot amp in general as well too. But pretty standard settings. Everything's pretty close to noon. Really the only thing that's pushed a little bit higher is the presence, because on a block letter 5150, you really don't get any change in what the presence knob is doing until you hit about 7. You can hear it very, very subtly in that like 0 through 6 position, but it's effectively doing nothing. And then I just wanted a little bit of saturation from the power amp. Just get a little bit more low meds, because it really helps this tone kind of growl. Because I really tried to emulate the actual album tone for this, which the album was mixed by Adam Bentley, incredible producer, incredible guitar player. He wrote a lot of this stuff. Dude's just a fucking genius. Then it's just the angled cab from Nolly, the one that matches 3. I brought it in a little bit more towards the center. Nothing too crazy on that. Once again, as you guys saw, we just flipped the phase again. And then not too much going on the EQ. We've got just a roll off at about 80-ish, cutting a little bit of 2.5K-ish. And just doing a shelf at 4K to give us that bite. There's a little bit of global EQ going on as well, too. So that global EQ is just giving us a little bit of a shelf at like 110, just to get a little bit of thump. Just cleaning up a little bit of the mud around 220. This was like this weird whistly kind of thing. Not whistly, but it was like honky and like just kind of just sounded muddy. And it wasn't in the original tone either, so that. So cut that pretty heavily, just so we get nice and tight. And then just getting rid of a little bit of a whistle here. And then a little bit of a roll off at 10K, just so, because live especially, you don't need all that much top end. But I still like to have it. I'd rather cut than add it, personally. So that's why it is still a little bit of a bright tone, but yeah, that's the tone that we are using for the upcoming Lauren Babick tour. We're going to be going out with Icon for Hire and Elijah, doing full US and Canada. So please come out. Here are the dates to that. I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you have any questions on the tones or anything, feel free to ask. I may be uploading these to Cortex Cloud. We'll see. I haven't really thought about it yet. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy, and hope this is a useful tutorial for you.